Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. Every once in a while, we talk about something else crafty, but today it is all cross stitch. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I know there's so much to watch, and I really appreciate you giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see, and you'll hit like and subscribe and come back and let's chat and stitch and do all the good stuff together. And if you're a returning viewer, as always, thank you so much for all of your support and coming back and watching and stitching with me. I really do appreciate it all. I am coming at you from Connecticut, from a much cleaner craft room than you have ever seen before. And I will talk about that in life, big life things going on right now. Just as a couple different things here, if you were ever wondering. So over in this corner, I actually, because I'm a paper crafter as well, I took a couple of magazine racks, I turned them on their side, and that was how I've stored my cardstock all these years. Down in Delaware, I don't think I'm doing that. I'm not bringing those down. Craigslist, here they come. And I'm gonna do something totally different. I'm gonna scale down my supply so I won't need as much. Here, what I did was I took some metal cubes, and then you take some of the outsides and you put them as inserts, and you just attach them with zip ties wherever you want. And that has held my pattern paper all these years. And then, of course, just sterilite drawers used for all sorts of things with that. So that was especially with the cardstock and the pattern paper, a really nice way to condense it all and keep it nice and neat. Well, it overflowed in the past few years, but now it looks really nice and neat. So anyway, just a quick, if you're wondering what's behind me over there, and here we have a very clean table. You'll notice it's a lot higher. Years and years and years ago, what I did was I took some PVC piping. This is just a regular 6-foot, 7-foot table, I don't even know. And I had Mo cut up some PVC piping for me, and I put it underneath each of the legs. So I figured out how high I wanted it. And so this way it's more than counter height, it's more chest height. I think in Delaware, I've got to put Mo to work again, but I do want more of a counter height table because I like to stand when I do my crafts. Stitching, I wish there was a better way to stand while stitching, but so I will be doing something about probably counter height. This is a great height for some things, but I did find in some ways I was kind of hunching like that. So I would recommend maybe not so high if you are looking at raising a table at some point to stand. And that's just my crafty tip of the day. Okay, anyway, so let's get to some stitching here. I have one finish, which it's a tiny little finish, so it should be finished. And then I have a whole bunch of projects that I worked on this week. This week was an interesting week. Like I said, there's some big life changes going on. And so I had to do a lot of stuff that didn't include stitching, unfortunately. So my stitching time was very segmented. And sometimes I would just be like, I've got to just carve out 20 minutes. I got to take a break and do a little bit of stitching and kind of reset my brain a little bit and just relax, because it's a relaxing thing for me. And I'm very big on self-care. We all need it. We all need to put ourselves first at times. And this is one of the ways I do it. There are other things that I do also, but stitching is definitely one of those things. So some pieces actually have some good progress, others little tiny progress, but I put my hands on, counting the finish, 8 pieces this week, because like I said, I was kind of all over the place. And before we get in, we haven't quite finished our sweaters. So this one we have down here, little snowmen by some snowy trees and some snowflakes. We are forecasted here in New England to be getting snow Sunday night into Monday. I'm hoping to be in Delaware and to miss it, but we'll see what happens. All right, okay, stitching. Let's talk stitching. So my finish, I'm not going to show you, it's a digital pattern, but I'm not going to bother showing you the original because I've got it finished. It's from Primrose Cottage Stitches. It's one of their, you know how they have almost like, they look like postage stamps because the nice border is kind of like that. And they usually have different trios for different holidays. This one is from one of the 3 from the Valentine's. Forgot my holiday for a minute. Valentine's holiday. And it's called Be Mine. Now, it is on 16 count I've realized it is 16 count. Mistakes happen. I really like it. The color, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's Bliss from Fabrics by Stephanie. I had started it thinking it was an 18 count, which is why it's so far over on two sides. And luckily it's a tiny piece, so I still had enough, and I don't need a lot of extra border, so we should be fine there. You'll see for purposes here, I had originally stitched this one, and that one is an 18 count fabric. So you'll see it's a little bit bigger. What's funny is with 16 count, normally, ages and ages ago, it was probably even before I started Flosstube. Not 100% sure, that's a little shaky, but I had started a project on 16 count. And the coverage, I wasn't loving the coverage really, which is what kind of made me jump to the 18 count, and I absolutely adore it. With this one, I actually, looking up close, the coverage is fantastic. I don't know if it's because it's lighter colors versus, say, a dark color, because I remember in that other pattern, it was more of some darker shades. So my friends that stitch with 16 count, and I know there are a lot of you out there, in fact, there's several Flosstubers I watch that really do like 16 count. Was that first one, do you think, an anomaly? Because I never really tried it after that, but trying this on the 16 count, looks great. And you know, there are some cases where I can get 16 count colors, but I can't get an 18 count, but I've always kind of shied away because I had that one bad experience. But I'm willing to try it again after this. So let me know if you think it was just kind of, I don't know, maybe just a one-off, maybe it was the fabric with the colors and something just didn't work right. What are your thoughts on the 16 count? I'd love to hear, because this looks great. And there's times when maybe I do want something a little bit bigger, because this is cute, but it's tiny. And so that little extra just makes it not too much bigger, but just a tiny bit bigger. So I'd be willing to explore the whole 16 count avenue if I got results like this, because I really do like this. So it's Bliss. It's a very, very pretty pink, really pretty pink from Fabrics by Stephanie. So I've done 2 of them. There is a third one. And now I'm questioning if I want to do it on this one as well and just have 2 of them on 16 and 1 on 18 versus going back to the 18 count for the third one. I'll have to see. I think if I was going to do anything with them, I would put them on like a little tree, so it really wouldn't matter that they're not all 3 matching. So that's my finish. Okay, and I have this nice clean table right here that I'm just going to pile this stuff on. Okay, next. I really did think, and I tried to get a finish on this one, and I couldn't do it. So it's Cherry Hill Stitchery, and that's what it looks like. It's called Merry Christmas. I am not stitching the words or the 2 bottom birds. And for this bottom bird, do you see how he kind of comes into the snow? In the couple places where he kind of comes in and out of the snow, I just added a few extra stitches to make the snow kind of just go across a little bit more. So I worked on this one this week, and I only did the white. I think it's, am I using B5200? I think I am. So there's a couple small places where there's more color, but that's what he looks like. Isn't he cute? So I really like, I mean, it's really cute with the words. So if you wanted to have it more as a Christmas kind of piece, if you chose to stitch it, go at it. But like this, if you just wanted something a little bit more wintry, I think it's adorable. And so that'll be it. It's not coming down any farther than that. What I miscalculated, so I did all the snow this past stitching session, and I was able to finish. The only thing the skates need is the actual blades. I don't have those on there yet. So I have the blades to do, and I think there's a couple buttons in there. And then and I think I have to finish up here. But then everything is white. There's a whole bunch of snowflakes. I had done this one, and then I was kind of like, ooh, it's pretty, but I have to take a break from stitching and go do some other stuff. So there's a small one, and then there's some here and some here. So I could not get a finish on this one. It's 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics. And I did, in the description box below, I do talk about it. The red and the green were not charted in DMC. The others were. So I picked my own DMCs. And down below, you can see which colors I chose. And maybe there's something else you prefer, but I like these. I think they came out good, especially this red, especially on the gray, I think shows nicely. So hopefully, I almost dropped it. Fingers crossed, that one might be a finish next time you see it. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm working on it this week just to get a finish or what I'll do. I don't know. Okay, next one. Okay, let's see, iPad. This one is from 2x2 StitchArt. It's called Northern Lights. This was, for those of you who remember the last few weeks, when did I don't remember which video I talked about it, but I talked about the whole saga about Connor wanting to stitch this. I think he stitched it 2 days, and then, you know, and now he's getting ready to go back, so you know it's never going to get done. So I also started it. He may not by the time I actually finish it, because it's full coverage. That is all stitched, even the background. By the time I finish it, he may not want it, in which case I'll just keep it. But I figured I'd try, and it's really pretty. I really like these colors that they've chosen, and it's easy to stitch. It's just, I've never stitched anything from them before, but they do have a 4-season that I am intrigued with, so I might pick that one up. They might be having a sale. Let me see if I go to their, oh yeah, right now they're at 50% off. I don't know how long that'll stay, but all of their pieces are 50% off. They'll be linked down below in the description box if you wanted to check them out, if you kind of like that look. A lot of them are shown in that hoop, and so it's stitched all the way to the edge, and then the hoop finishes it. The 4 seasons I'm looking at is actually more of a rectangle, I think, as opposed to a square piece. That would just be finished differently. I mean, you could finish any of them square or rectangle. You don't have to finish them in the hoop. This one though, because I figured it would be, I just did it on 18 count white Aida, because the actual stitch part will show nothing but stitching. And that's where I've gotten. It is slow going because there's 3 different shades just here alone. So you kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing. But it really adds a nice different shade of color. Everything's DMC, so that's not an issue. And, you know, the circle just come around here, a big circle. But I'm actually enjoying it. I'm kind of glad that he found it, and I will look at that shop for some more ideas and options of things to buy, because some of them are really, really pretty. And I don't mind the idea of like a full coverage kind of piece. So that's called Northern Lights from 2x2 StitchArt. Okay. Now, next. So, you know, I haven't really talked about plans for 2022 because I really don't have anything set in stone. One thing I did do was for the month of January, I said I want 6 different pieces out of my rotation that I would like to at least touch once, if not multiple times, twice minimum if I could, during the month. Now, some of them, I think one of them was Lady Halloween. You know she's getting work because I just love working on her. But I tried to pick a couple that I wouldn't necessarily have stitched before, and this is one of them. And as of now, this week, I've done 5 of the 6. So I have one more that you haven't seen in a long time that I do want to pull out, maybe next week once I'm settled in Delaware. But this one I said I really wanted to do. I want to get a finish on it. It's not huge. It's just a matter of sitting down with it. And I love the colors. It's Pretty Little Amsterdam from Satsuma Street. If you want to see it finished, Helen D finished it not that long ago, I think. And hers looks fantastic, as all of Helen's work does. She has a whip parade that I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but I'm so looking forward to it. I think maybe when I get myself settled, Shamrock and I will settle in and watch that this weekend. But anyway, that's the pattern. And here I am. I'm plugging along. This is an 18 count what is it? I'm looking at my notes here. Oh yeah, Nantucket Sky from Fabrics by Stephanie. Now, because this pattern has that kind of cloudy look to it, I am not stitching these clouds. I skipped those. I did stitch the sun. Now it is slightly higher on the pattern because the clouds are underneath it a little bit. So, and I didn't do much, maybe just 2 or 3. I moved it slightly away from the windmill and I moved it down just a tiny bit. This has still got to go up a little bit. This is not completely done yet, this piece. But I did work on here and then I started filling in here and here. I'm kind of jumping all over. What I was doing was if I found something color-wise in the sun, then I would add it somewhere else as well. And then I was just trying to pick some colors. And if they're in more than one spot, for example, down here, there's a whole row of the tulips or the flowers. And so I filled in a few of them because that color had come up already. So you'll see like just weird places I've just got some color because I just wanted to finish up some of the strands. But I love it. It's super cute. It's a lot of fun to do. It's just a matter of sitting down. It's a lot of color changes in small areas. So it's one of those times when I need to be able to concentrate, which sometimes things are too crazy going on and I need something a little bit less that I have to concentrate on. And you know, I kind of want to spread out because I have, you know, a bunch of different colors that I might be using and so on and so forth. So this one's a bit more of a commitment. But I have Dublin, Pretty Little Dublin that I do want to do. So I got to finish this one first before I start any more. So that's that. And I picked Amsterdam because Megan in high school, she had a class. It was a kind of a leadership sort of class. And one of the components was they took a trip somewhere in Europe. And so the year she went, they went to Amsterdam. Sadly for Connor, he was also in the class, but Connor was 2 years later. In the midst of COVID, there was no traveling anywhere. So he did not get to go anywhere, but Megan did get to go to Amsterdam. So I thought it'd be fun to stitch this one because of that. And it's just a fun one to look at. Dublin, well, I mean, my last name's O'Shea. I have an aunt, a cousin, multiple cousins. I have a bunch of family that live in Dublin. Mo has family that lives in Dublin. We've been there more times than we can count. So that's obviously why I'd want to stitch that one. All right, that's that. All right, I know it seems like a lot, doesn't it? Next one. This is the last of the digitals that I have to show you on my iPad. I didn't really plan them in a row like this, but it works out nicely. You've seen lots of people stitching this. I saw somebody on Instagram finish it. I don't remember, and it looked fantastic. It's called Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I love, love, love the colors in this one, which makes it so enjoyable. I hadn't stitched it in a couple weeks and I said, you know what, I'm gonna pull it out, and I did. And I really focused down here in this corner. So I finished all of that. I started another house. I worked my way up here a little bit. I was jumping a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I do like to jump between little things and say, what color do I wanna work on? So you will see that sometimes. 18 count fallen leaf from To Die For Fabrics. I chose, like them, theirs is done on, I'm not sure what the called for is, but because this stays all open and you see the green, I did choose to keep with some sort of shade of green. And this one's really a really lovely one. I really like it a lot. So as soon as I saw it, I said, that's the one for Autumn Town. We're getting there slowly. I am now in, so this is what, page 1, page 2. I've started to go into page 3 and 3. It's only a 4-page pattern. So I feel like, okay, now that I'm going into the bottom set of pages, it'll get, you know, it's the crossing between the pages sometimes that goes a little slow going for me. Their crossover, they only cross over, and maybe it depends on pattern sizes, but this one, there's only 2 overlap pieces, so it doesn't give you a ton to compare to. when you're stitching. So this one goes a little bit slower for me. But I'm getting there and I really love it. And the more I think about it, I do, when this one is done, want to take these colors, especially once I see it completely finished. I'm going to take these colors and think about the Prairie Schooler that I had in my project parade that started from ages ago and I've stalled. I really do think changing up the colors would change my entire mental frame on that one. So this one's got to get finished first, but stay tuned. That may happen. I'd be happy to share when I get to that point. All right. This one got tiny amount of work, not much. This was a day where I was exhausted. I was on the go all day long, doing around here. And I said, I need half an hour, 45 minutes, I don't even know what it was. I need just a little time to kind of decompress, relax, zone out a little bit. And so I picked up Prairie Schooler Christmas Eve. I'll stitch anything at any point. I know Christmas is over now. Well, you've seen Autumn Town. You're gonna see my general Halloweenish one soon. I'll stitch anything at any point. You know me, I'm that stitch what I want, and whatever day I happen to flip through the projects and say, yep. Now, that made me laugh because this is a very specific reference. I choose you. You'd have to take one of the evening yoga classes from Yoga with Adrienne. She is free on YouTube. She's one of my most favorite yoga instructors. But there's a bedtime one. And you lay down on some pillows on the ground. And she says, I choose you to the pillow. But that just made me think of it. Anyway, I digress. Here we go. Really, what did I do? I didn't want to change a lot of colors, so I pretty much just focused right here on the sleigh. In fact, that might be all I focused on. This is also 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics, so it's the same piece. The cut part's over here, actually. It's the same piece you're seeing Merry Christmas on. And there's one more piece that I think would look good on this. I've got some more on order. She's actually, and maybe because the holidays threw her off, usually she's pretty fast, but nothing's moved on this order. I might check her website, see if she's got any updates, because usually Misty's pretty fast on orders, and this one just seems to be waiting, but that's fine because the other project, it's not like I needed to start it yesterday, so I have plenty to keep me busy. But I do have a little bit more of this on order because there is at least one more piece. I love this for these kind of colors. I think the Prairie Schooler colors look great on it. And it's kind of a nice, kind of wintry sort of gray. So that's that one, Christmas Eve. Two more. My every week project. One of these weeks I always say, I'm not gonna bother. And then there's one day where I say, I just wanna do some. I wanna do a little bit on Lady Halloween from Jardin Prive. And I am doing it in the multicolored, well, I mean, it's blacks and grays, let's be honest, but I'm not doing it completely monochromatic. All right, full piece. There it is. That's the total. And then I'm still just plugging away on her dress. So last week I did a lot of the black, which I am using Anchor Black as opposed to the 310. This week I said I wanted to concentrate on the grays because I needed some grays to fill in some more of the black here. So I have the dark gray is the called for, the lighter gray is one that I did switch up, but all of that information is always in the description box below. So if you're interested. And I do tell you in that box what two etoiles I used mixed for her hair. I was stitching this the other day I was sitting by a window. I have really no really great comfortable stitching chair here in Connecticut. I don't necessarily have one in Delaware either, but I have a few more places that are a little bit more comfortable. But I was sitting by a window and the sun was kind of shining in on it and her hair sparkled. It looked so cool. So that's a lot of fun. You know, when you're looking at it with the light, you do get just a hint of a sparkle. So I worked on the grays, and then now I still have some more to work on, but then now I can also add more of the black in. This comes all the way across. So there's some decent work still left in here. Once I get back to my Etoiles, I'm gonna look at those plus the DMC, I think they were the light effects, and figure out, I wanna make sparkly bubbles. So I just have to figure out what color I wanna make those. And I think those are the only two colors I'm introducing into this. I'll look at the pattern, but I don't necessarily think there's other places that I would introduce anymore. This is 18 count Smoky Amethyst from To Die For Fabrics. And just every time I look at it, I just really like it even more. I'm really glad I chose this color. So Lady Halloween. Now this does have a stitch along. Hashtag Lady Halloween SAL for stitch along. Start. There's nothing at all that is set in stone on that stitch along. Start it when you want, finish when you want it. Kind of hang out with whatever colors, monochromatic or other colors that you want to do. But if you hashtag it, I would love to be able to see it. And what I've done below is people that I know are working on it, I do have listed, either Flosstubes or Instagrams or whatever you happen to have. And I love linking those as well. So you have a chance to see other people working on it. So that's Lady Halloween. And one of these weeks you may not see it, but I just keep enjoying it. So I just keep pulling it out. Very last one. I know there was a lot. There's not much to this video after that. When it comes to the stitching part, there's, you know, a lot of life stuff kind of going on, but if you don't want to hear the life stuff, you'll be bugging out pretty soon. Betsy's Autumn from Plum Street Samplers. This was a day when I didn't really want to think at all. And I haven't finished the border, and I am so close. I didn't, because I was switching that with the grass. Neither one of those do I have to think, because with the border, it's like 5, then you switch, 5, then you switch, and you keep going back and forth with the colors. And then the grass is just the one color all the way across. This is being done for my part with the DMC conversions. I am not using the called for variegated flosses, of which there are a couple different types. I have not perfected the showing it to the side of you kind of look. Here we go. So that's the full piece. I do have the border now coming down and almost 100% done. And really that side is the side I worked on. So let me put it down. Except for a few blocks of black, and I am using Anchor 310. Anchor Black. I'm creating a new thing, Anchor 310. It's Anchor Black instead of 310. Their called for would be Weeks Mascara, if you were so inclined, but I'm using the Anchor. And then I just kept plugging along here. It's been a perfect, I really didn't want to count and think that day. My brain was tired, but I wanted to stitch. And so I just would thread the needle, and I would switch between the orange, the black, and the green, and I would just thread the needle and then go at it. So that's the full piece. That's the size on 18 count. So this is 18 count Honey Amber from Fabrics by Stephanie. And I'm getting there. I am getting there. Once I finish down here, I think what I'll do is potentially come back up here and work my way down. I don't know though, because this can bounce off. To get to her, I was going to do that, which can bounce off the house. So it kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. We'll see. I don't even plan where I'm going from time. Never mind planning certain stitches for months or weeks or whatever. I don't even plan what part of the piece I'm going to do. So that's it. That is all of my stitching for this week. Oh, I've got thread coming out of this bag. Let me put that in there. And yeah, those are all my pieces. That's what I've done for the week. I touched a lot, but I can't say I got huge progress on everything. But I'm pleased that I got at least every time I do that little bit more, some of these, especially bigger pieces, because there's quite a few looking at it that are bigger pieces, they're getting a little bit closer to getting done, because I would like to get some of those finished this year. That'd be fun. The smalls, you know, those are easy to get finished, but I would like some bigger pieces that I've worked on. That's it. So like I said, with plans, I have 5 of the 6 that I kind of targeted for January already touched. So there's one more. Maybe early next week, I might think about pulling that out, or it might not be till the following week in January, but I do want to get that. And so I kind of have just a little bit, it hasn't seen work in a long time, so I'd like to give it a little bit of stitching love. I don't have a planner like some of you necessarily do. I kind of do. I write down what I stitch on every given day so I can see. And I fool around every year. It's something different. This is the 3rd year I'm kind of writing down what I'm stitching, and it's the 3rd type of planner that I've used. So we'll see what sticks, but no set specific plans. You just have to come back next week to see what I work on. Okay, shopping. I have the tiniest of shopping. Ooh, I almost dropped. Put that up there so I don't lose it. Okay. I only have shopping from one place, and it's 4 charts. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 charts. So I was, I think it was Becca from Sambury Stitches. She posts a lot of times on her Instagram when places are having sales. And she had posted about Cobweb Corner in her stories. They were having a sale, and Helen D, Cobweb Corner sponsors all of her giveaways. So I hear about, I think it's Carla. I hear about her all the time from Helen's videos. And I've just, I just don't think about it when I go sit down to shop. But then when I saw Becca's post about a sale, I said, well, I like a good sale. And I know it was Blackbird Designs were on sale and a few others. And there is one other. So clearly this designer was on sale what was it, like a 3 to 4 day stretch? She would do some sales and then she'd switch it up a bit. So I picked these up, and I've not done any Blackbirds at all. I know, but these are fun, and I'm always looking for, something. This one is called How Does the Lily Grow, and it's part of their Garden Club series. It's number 10. It's a cute little small. And they show in the back there all the different projects if it was done as one big piece. There are some really pretty ones here, and I think I may have one other. I'm not 100% sure. But if I did them, they would all just be as singles. But I thought that was kind of pretty. I like the colors. I am not one that's stuck on, muted colors or bright colors or this. I love it all. Different things appeal to me. Obviously, look at Autumn Town or look at Stitcherovia. They're bright, colorful. This is definitely more subdued and muted, but I think it's beautiful as well. So that's the first one. The next one is called Loose Feathers Winter. So I picked that one up. I guess this was made, and you all would know much better than me. So it was 3 parts done at one point. That's what it looks like if it was all done up. I don't know. I picked this one up just because I thought it was pretty. I love the colors and I liked the piece. I don't necessarily know if I would pick up all 3 or do all 3, but I do like those shades of pinks and mauves. I always have. There's a couple different shades of inks that remind me of this that I always really enjoyed using for my crafting, my paper crafting, for stamping, and different shades of cardstock that I liked to use. So that's what makes me think of it. And then I would pair it with, different shades of green. So it's right up my alley when it comes to those colors. So I picked this one up. The other 2 to be determined if I pick them up. And then the last one from Blackbird that I picked up was Strawberry Fields Forever. And this is second in the Magical Mystery Tour series. And I think I've seen, I don't know how many are in the series. This pattern is 2nd and 6. There you go. So will I do more? Maybe, maybe not. I just think it's really pretty. I love the colors. There is a connection my mom has to the Beatles, so there's that as well. But I just love the colors too. And this one's a bigger one, much bigger than the, well, I guess we kind of go small, medium, and large, but this one would be a commitment, I think. But I like it. So anyway, those are the 3 from Blackbird that I picked up. And then the last one, I had it in a wish list, I think just on Etsy through her shop. And this was on sale. It was Satsuma. And I said, you know what? Now, it's really tightly in plastic, so I'm not going to take it out. You know, most of the time I do, but I'll just angle it. It's called Christmas Cat. It's obviously part of her cat series. I've stitched Halloween Cat, and I liked that one so much. So I said, you know what? I'm going to pick up Christmas Cat. So I did. And I just love how she adds so much color. The tree is just a lot of fun, and the different presents and everything else. So that's it. Those 4 are it. That's the only shopping I have. Yeah, I know I think I have my color and cotton fabric of the month coming. I don't know if it'll get here before I go down to Delaware, but that's all right. It'll just get held, and it'll be a nice little present when I get back. And I don't know, there might be some other stuff. I'm not 100% sure if there is anything else. I never know when the fabric of the months are coming. They just come when they come. So, all right. So that's shopping. Lastly, we have to talk about giveaways. That's the last stitching. Oh, here it is. That's the last stitching thing. And then after that, it's just some life stuff to talk about. Alrighty, so we are all caught up on back giveaways. I am so thrilled that I don't have to carry a whole bunch of stuff with me to make sure who's getting what. So thank you for everybody getting back to me. Yeah, all caught up. So last week I had said I would love to give away, this is number 1 in the Quirky Quaker series. It's the puffin. I have a window right here because I wanted to bring some light in. And of course it's reflecting off of everything. But that's what he looks like. Super cute. Stitch count 40 by 40. So, I mean, seriously, quick stitch right there. And I asked you to say the word winter. So let me mix the names around in the bowl. I have this one as well. And I'm really looking forward to stitching it. I don't know what fabric I'd use or what floss. I don't know. And that one's up in the air, which is probably why I haven't stitched it yet. I have a few of the Quakers, I have to say. Alrighty, so let's grab a name. And who do we have? JAS262. Congratulations. Put your name up against there. You've won the puffin. So I'm going to put this right back in the plastic with your name. And once you get back to me, I'm going to bring this with me when I travel so that I can ship it to you from Delaware. So just send me your address and I will get that out to you. Congratulations. All right, put that there. All right, this week. So this week, I have a couple people to talk about. One where I got this piece from. This is a handmade thing that I'm giving you away this week. And when I saw it, I said, ooh, that would go with a stitch along that somebody else is posting. So I said, you know what? I get to talk about Stitchy Friends. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so if you watch Carla Being Crafty, hi Carla, if you're watching, she is having, and she has had in the last couple of Februaries, she is a stitch along. It's called Be Your Own Valentine SAL. All one word. I will double check. I'm not sure if she's been listing it in her descriptions, video descriptions, but she's been talking about it this month. So, you know, I mean, and basically the whole idea, what kind of pattern is it? When I say Be Your Own Valentine, it's BEE. So the whole stitching part of it is to stitch something with a bee on it. It doesn't have to be the bee as the center, I don't believe. It just has to be a bee somewhere in there. So that's the background. I'm still looking. I have a couple of things that I think I would like to stitch in February, or pick one of them that would follow, that has a bee in it, so I could jump along with Carla on her stitch along. I just have to figure out fabrics. That's always the dilemma for me. You know that. I overthink it. So anyway, so I was shopping at Kathy's shop, Crafty Cat Stitcher. So Kathy has a Flosstube, and she recently did a parade, and I love Kathy's choices of projects. Go watch it. I'm gonna link her down below if you haven't seen it. Everything. She always has all sorts of great stuff, different styles, colors, designs, whatever. So Kathy recently had a stitch parade to watch, but I digress. She also has an Etsy shop, and I believe the Etsy shop is also called Crafty Cat Stitcher. I'll link that as well. And so before the Christmas holidays, she had a sale, and I went and I looked at her shop. In fact, she was having a sale this month, but I don't know if it's still on or not. And I wanted to pick up a couple things that I wanted to share with all of you. And this is one of the two that I ended up getting. And I saw this and I said, oh, I'm going to pair this with Carla's stitch along. So, you know what? Let me use this because I want to be able to show this. This is a thread keep that she made. All of the items I believe she makes. So I wanted to see if I can bring it up close. So it is a bee. It's a really pretty bee with a design. And then over here we have a little bee charm. And then a color that goes with it too, right there, bead-wise. And this is done, I want to say this is probably a copper drop ring. I'm pretty sure it's a copper ring. So that's what Kathy made. Isn't it beautiful? Exquisite. So I would like to give this away this week. And if you would like me to put your name in the bowl for this, all you have to do is say the word bee, B-E-E, anywhere in your comment. And if you do that, I will put your name in and I will draw for this next video. I will link Kathy's Flosstube, I will link Carla's Flosstube, and I will also link Kathy's Etsy shop. I love it when I can combine stitchy friends with some fun giveaways. That is the best. I love to support other people. It's my favorite thing to do. So there we go. That will be, oof, my hand looks so big there. That will be next week or next video's giveaway. And that's it for the stitching. Oh, look at that. I still talked and talked and talked. I thought it would be a lot shorter. So anyway, if you don't want to hear about life, then I will see you next video. Have a fantastic week. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. First off, we got Megan off. Megan left for college on Wednesday. So she is now back doing whatever for school. Connor leaves on Sunday, so we're trying to get him packed up and all of this. He has to take a COVID test today and upload that before he's allowed to go back on Sunday, and then he gets tested when he gets there, and then he gets tested every 3 days after that. But it was a little bit up in the air because what they've done with the dorms is, and I'm assuming, we're assuming this, but Connor was in a suite in the basement in one of these freshman dorms. Well, all of the suite mates were told that they would be being moved. And I'm wondering, my speculation is, given what the school has said, they expect to have many more kids in isolation, quarantine, whatever, who will be testing positive. I think they're clearing some floors of dorms to be used because they have some hotel space, but they don't have, Megan's school they took one full dorm, and that's the isolation dorm. They don't have the ability at Clark to do that. So I think what they're doing is they're taking floors. So we just found out on Wednesday, Connor's new room, luckily it's in the same dorm because I did want him to stay in a freshman dorm. He is a freshman. And he's been talking back and forth with his roommate, sounds like a nice kid. they seemed to be both very respectful. The kid was really nice, said, you know, when you come, we can move the room around if you want, and so on and so forth. So I thought that was pretty good, because this guy's been in there the whole semester, so he's being welcoming, which is great. So we have that idea. So Connor is going, and Mo's taking, only one person is allowed to go back. So, and now that they're moving from the basement to, I think, the 3rd floor, it is most definitely going to be Mo, because all of Connor's stuff now has to be taken from one floor of the dorm and be moved to an entirely different place. So, I mean, that's going to take some time and effort, because, you know, he left everything out. It's all got to be packed up and transported. Maybe he should take a couple empty suitcases. I'm thinking about it, so he can put it all in and transport it, and then Mo can take the suitcases back. I got to remember that. Anyway, so that's been kind of a saga going on with Connor. You know, he only found out beginning of this past week that they were moving him. They said by Wednesday he'd find out where his room would be. And so, you know, we've been kind of back and forth with all of that, trying to figure out what will happen there. Luckily, hopefully, it will be an easy move, and not too many problems. And hopefully him and his roommate get along. Anyway, so that's his thing. But the huge news is, so last week when I talked to you on Friday, we had on Thursday, our real estate agent come around. Our plan was to put this house on the market in the spring of 2023, so next spring. That would give all of our family members, the grandparents, our parents, you know, time to get used to the fact that we were moving out of Connecticut and that we'd be in a completely different state. But we wanted to have the agent come through, because I figured I need a year, right? I need a year to get this house ready. So she came through on Thursday, went through everything, said she would do up some calculations to see what she thought. And then she also wanted a home stager to come through. She works with someone who stages houses for her. And that woman came through on Monday, so that she could tell us what kind of things we need to do to the house in order to get it ready as well, type of idea. So, so we had that going on. Well, we first, over the weekend, the agent came back to us and she said, the market is ridiculous right now. There is nothing for sale, and there are buyers beyond buyers. She had an open house that weekend with 50 groups of people walking through and something like 80 showings, because there's so many people looking for houses and there's not any houses on the market. So she said, if you could possibly get the house on the market earlier rather than later, I think you would do better. So Mo and I, we looked at each other and we said, can we do it? And we said, darn it, let's try it. So, and we had kind of had an idea maybe we were doing this. So as of Sunday this past week, we have been working feverishly to get this house on the market, hopefully within a month. You don't even know how much work this studio needed. There was so much that was donated. I also gave away a lot for free to either on Craigslist or other places. Goodwill got a lot. I just felt bad inundating Goodwill because I don't think they could have handled all the stuff. Couple things I'm asking for prices, but to be honest, I just don't have the ability to sit down, price everything, deal with whether or not people are gonna buy it, and so on and so forth. So I donate it, and I just have this idea that it's, you know, it's gonna go where it's meant to go, and hopefully it will go to a good home. And the people who have taken stuff have been very appreciative and really nice and followed up with thank yous. So I feel like that's been happening, that they've been going to really good homes. So our goal is to get this house completely ready. The biggest place to declutter was this room, actually, I have to say, because I had so much from 30 years of crafting that I never really got rid of, that I was paralyzed in starting. I didn't know where or how to start. This got me going and said, you got to do it. And so I just was ruthless. And I still have to do. So I've done a first really ruthless pass. I really should do another one and go ruthless again and say, I'm not using this in Delaware. You know, some of this stuff is obviously coming down because I do want to keep up. My paper crafting is not as extensive as it used to be. I no longer have my Etsy shop open. I haven't closed my standalone shop because I don't know. At some point, I may go back to things. But for the moment, all of that's on hold so I can reevaluate where I am and how I am. Because when you do things for sale, especially when you have a lot of it, it doesn't become as enjoyable because then it's a job at times. So it depends, you know, when I have 300 place cards to make, after a while you get tired of stamping the same thing 300 times and then cutting and attaching and all that. So, you know, going forward, it may be a different way of selling items if I do. We'll see. That's it. That's for the future. But anyway, so I ruthlessly, I mean, this table was full. There was more cabinets there. I can't tell you what I have for cardstock is a fraction of what I had because I needed it. Certain colors for certain things that I sold, and then just needed extensive different colors and shades for custom requests. I don't need that anymore. I'm going with the colors I like the most, the colors I use the most. Everything else will go. Over here in this whole area, I have kitty corner tables that were full. And then I have a couple closets. You can see one, but there's another one because this is considered a bedroom. And one of the closets we put shelving units in, we put shelves in it. So all of that was full. Now you can actually open the closet and see. So we did that. We've gone through other parts of the house. We told the kids, you got to do it. Megan sort of did it. Connor's sort of done it. I think what's going to happen, because I think the house will be sold before they get back from college this semester, is, Mo said this morning, whatever they've left is all going in a big garbage bag. It's going to be stored. And when they want to, they can go through it and see what they want. Otherwise, it's going, you know, and so it'd be on them at that point, you know. We gave you some time and notice, and if you're not going to do it, then it'll be on you at a later date. Everything will just get thrown in a big bag. We have big giant garbage bags. So anyway, so we are in the process of, when I said I needed over a year to get the house ready, I am now trying to do it within a month. When the stager came through, many of our rooms are fairly minimalist. We don't have a lot of stuff out. I did at the last house. Had to pack it up for showings when we sold the last house, and it's stayed in the boxes since then. So that kind of tells you something. I've kind of changed in my aesthetic a little bit. So there wasn't much decluttering, so to speak, besides especially here. We have to paint a little bit. So we're painting the kitchen and the dining room, and they're going to be painted in a specific gray that the stager recommended. And then we have a rug that in the hallway up here, we have just a regular center hall colonial. But in the hallway upstairs between all the bedrooms, we think there's hardwood underneath it, but we've not seen it and we don't know the status of it. So we tossed up and turned back and forth whether or not to pull it up, but we don't know what the floors look like, and then that would mess up all the thresholds. So then we'd have to pay somebody to finish all the thresholds. Or we could get somebody, because the first set of people who did the carpet didn't do it properly. So it's buckling up in places. But I guess you can hire somebody who will flatten all that out. So I think that's what we're going to do. So those are the two big things we had to do besides just massive declutter and getting rid of stuff. So we are in a really good place. Mo and his dad are going to do the painting. So that'll get done next week. We just got to find somebody carpet-wise to fix. And then this room, actually, when I leave tomorrow, will be in a place where they could take pictures, because that was the goal, was to kind of make it so that they could take pictures and put it on for the showing. But it will be at a point where you could see the pictures. So I'm really proud of myself because I worked so hard in this past week. I can't even tell you how much stuff has been decluttered. It's incomprehensible to me. So anyway, that's the big life news. We will probably rent for a short period of time an apartment of some sort up here, again, to kind of ease our family members into the move. This is a tough transition for them, and so we want to make it as easy as possible. And so if we sell the house, and they get that, you know, right now the market is really good. A year and a half from now, the market may not be as good. So it makes sense. But if we ease the transition and we rent for a little while, just something small, basic, so that we have a place to lay our head if we come on up, then it will make the eventual transition a little bit easier. So that's our goal with that. So yeah, so crazy times, stress levels up, but you know, kind of in a good way. I mean, getting rid of stuff is actually, I have to say, I've worked really hard and I've been kind of stressed about what I'm keeping or not. But when I look at these areas that were inundated with stuff, I feel so much better now because there's so much less, and it just feels more calming. And I do have a plan. I said to Mo, I'm bringing down more to Delaware than I would have right away. I wanted to figure out furniture, not real furniture, but IKEA, which is real furniture. I shouldn't say that, but you know, it's more affordable furniture that you put together yourself. I wanted to make a couple of IKEA runs and have a plan before I brought all this down. It's going to happen backwards at this point, but just because I bring it down doesn't mean I have to keep it. So I still want to measure and plan out and design the craft area down there. And then if whatever I've brought down doesn't have a place, I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm in that mode and that brain mindset right now, which is great, because that means I'm getting rid of so much stuff that I haven't touched in years. And the fact that I might use it at some point in the distant future, if I need something that bad, I'll just buy it at that point. So that's it. That's my big rambly news. So hence why I haven't had a lot of stitching time, because I have just been going all out with all these other things. And I can't, the amount of garbage that's generated when you do that as well. It's crazy. So anyway, I hope you've had a great week. I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. Please take care of yourself. And I hope you're getting some stitching in. And maybe you'll do some January decluttering. Take it from me. You will feel so much better. And just pretend that your back's against the wall and you got to get rid of it, type of thing. It really worked for me, because then I jumped into a section and I just went crazy. So it was what I needed, because I was just completely stuck otherwise. But yeah, maybe you'll get some done. If you do, tell me what you're doing. And I always like to see how people are finding creative ways to store things, whether it's the stitching or my fellow paper crafters. You know, any great things that you find super useful, let me know, because I'm going to change how I do my cardstock. I'm going to change how I do my ink pads. I'm not bringing a lot of that stuff down with me. You know, smaller area, want to keep it more contained and neat. So come at me with any of your organizational brilliant finds. I'd love to hear about it. So that's it. If you are in the path of this big snow, whichever way it's coming, I guess they're still trying to figure out who's getting the big thump of snow. I hope everything goes okay, and you know, you don't get completely inundated with it. Be careful out there in all that crazy weather. And until next time, happy stitching.